Hello and welcome to Rob Snyder's graphic novel, Game of Thrones Observations. The first image sets a powerful scene. The red that soaks the picture, the blood coming out of the tree, all the red of the leaves on the tree symbolizes all the death and destruction, and the tree itself recognizes the supernatural aspects that will permeate throughout this novel. The massive sword and the sadness on Ned's face preview how much gore and destruction will also be in the novel from a very personal standpoint. The glow of the snow going on to the White Walkers is similar to the blue in their eyes. The Night's Watch are surely in trouble here, as that snow looks menacing, and certainly something has to be looming. The walkers themselves are enormous, beautifully terrifying ice creatures. Their strange language gives them all the more mysterious aspect, and again gives authority to that supernatural that is obviously very central throughout this story. And the graphic novel really lives up to the gore and graphicness that the show and the book promise. Going on to the beheading scene, one thing I really focused in on were the warts on the Watchman's face, and his malign teeth and broken fingernails. It displays the poor and the outcasted men who serve in this ugly brotherhood, and that ends up betraying him in the end. Being loyal to those who are outcast does not lend any loyalty. So it shows how if you're not of highborn, you don't really have a good chance beyond that. Theon's really played up as an asshole in this, kicking the head of the beheaded, and as he tries to kill the wolves too. Tree, blood, sword, and sadness reappear. This whole area with Eddard and Cat is eerie and red and dead, and it seems like an odd place. The graphic novel is very, very direct and blunt with the characters' speech and conversation with one another. It obviously has to be, but one major difference between the novel and the show is Jaime slits the throat of the Mad King, not the backstab, and this graphic novel talks a lot more about the Targaryen past, which is interesting because that's obviously a very pertinent point as the story goes on. What happens, but the artwork in it is fantastic. It's very descriptive, very detailed, and it allows for the reader to notice subtle details that the author wanted you to notice, and maybe you would not have noticed in text form. But it really does a good job staying in line with the story as well. There are a few small differences between the book, the show, and the graphic novel, but this graphic novel does stay in line with the facts and is a good representation for the novel itself and the show going forward. And those are my conclusions.